Hello and welcome to another episode of Fun with Photos. Today I want to introduce you to a fantastic little app called Snapseed. It can make your photos look absolutely stunning. I'm Chris Guld with Geeks on Tour. First of all, Snapseed is an app that you must download and install on your phone. It works with iPhones and iPads. It works with Androids. It also works with Chromebooks. If you can install an Android app on your Chromebook, that's a great way to go. It does not work on Windows or Mac. It's not a desktop program at all. Once it's installed, you can use it as a standalone app, but realize then you can only edit photos that are on that same device. I like using it from Google Photos. Since it's made by Google, they work together. On an Android, you would open the photo that you want to edit, tap the Edit button, and then scroll over to More. You'll see Snapseed there. On the Google Photos iOS app, iPhone or iPad, you open the photo and you just swipe up on it and you will see Open in Snapseed. Now on the geeksontour.com website, we have a learning guide. It is for members only, but it's a complete learning guide to Snapseed, including written instructions and a playlist of videos. Or for free, you can watch our YouTube show, What Does This Button Do? Episode number 240. Today, I just want to whet your appetite by showing you what I can do with 4 different photos. This old photo of Yosemite that looks so washed out, I'm going to show you how I turn it into this. This photo of the Gateway Arch on the Mississippi River, I'm going to show you how I turn it into this. This picture of Jim and me in front of the Pantheon in Rome, I wanted to use as a post, so I'm going to show you how to add text to a banner at the bottom. This photo of Niagara Falls is to demonstrate how you can use a brush to just get more color in a certain area, like that rainbow. And lastly, everybody asks, how do you get rid of the wrinkles? Well, look at this. I'll show you how I do that. For this first picture, I'm going to use my Android, my Samsung phone, and notice I am in Google Photos. I open the picture I want to fix, tap Edit, scroll over on the horizontal menu till I hit More, and then scroll over until I see Snapseed. Snapseed must be installed on this device. Now, what I want to do, it's called a tool, and it's the very first tool, Tune Image. What you do is you swipe up and down on the photo to get your choices. I like this one called Ambiance. Notice it says Ambiance 0 at the very top. Now if I swipe right or left, it gives me more or less of that feature. Is that nice or what? I like it. I tap the check mark. I want to use one more tool, and that is Details. Notice they are the first and second tools. Details, same thing. I can go up and down to choose which. I like Structure. I go right and left to choose more or less. I like that. So I tap the check mark. Now I'm out looking at my finished product. If I want to see what my original looked like, you long press. Is that dull and boring and that beautiful or what? On the Android now, I can just tap Done and I am back to Google Photos. And since that was a very old photo, it had to make a copy of it and it put the result in today. So there is the result in Google Photos. For the next one, I'm going to use the iPad because I like using the bigger screen. I open Google Photos, and I'll find the photo I want to edit. It's that one. Notice that this is back in June of 2004, so you can find those old favorite photos and make them look better. Since I'm on an Apple device now, I just swipe up and choose Open in Snapseed, as long as Snapseed is installed. Sometimes you'll find that a previous photo is still open. In that case, you have to force quit Snapseed and start over with Google Photos and open in Snapseed. Now I have it right. And notice that I no longer see the word tools along the bottom. Instead, I have a pencil. And that's just because of the orientation. If I hold my iPad vertically, then I get the words tools down at the bottom. But I want to hold it horizontally, so I use this pencil, and there is the same tune image. I rub up and down, ambiance, increase it, and check mark, tools and details and structure and increase it. Wow, is that better or what? There was my original dull photo. There is the new, almost three-dimensional. Also, on the iOS devices, there is no done to return you to Google Photos. I have to tap the share and save, and then go back to Google Photos manually. Sometimes it can be hard to see where Snapseed dated your photo, whether it appears next to the existing one or not. I use, therefore, the recently added. If I tap on search and recently added, it will show me whatever most recent photos were added, regardless of the date they have listed as date taken. So here's the one that was just added. I can scroll up and see that, yes, it was dated the same as the original. For the next three photos, I'm just going to show you what to do in Snapseed, not the whole process from Google Photos. So here is that one of us in front of the Pantheon. I swipe up, open in Snapseed, and what I want a black border. I'm going to do that with a tool called Expand. And then you just drag this little, you have a choice of expanding smart, so it tried to assume that the whole picture needed to be. I didn't want that. I tools, expand. I want to make sure that it's a black border, not a white or a smart. And I drag this little marker down, and I now have a black border. Now I want to put text on that border, so I choose the text tool and double tap here to change. And ℸ𝕝𝕼𝕃 𝕷𝕝𝕝. And now I want to move that down into the border, and I am done. For this Niagara Fall and rainbows, I first like to do my normal ambiance and detail. But then my main purpose for showing you this picture is to use something called the brush tool. I want more color, but only in the rainbow. So I get into the brush, I choose saturation, and now I can just rub my finger on the rainbow, and it gets brighter without overwhelming us with the rest of the picture. There's my original. There's the new one, yes. Now for those nasty wrinkles, there is a special tool called Portrait, and it automatically brightens my face a bit. I can still rub up and down. Skin smoothing is what I want. Rub over to the right, and most of the wrinkles are gone. I want it even a little bit more bright. That's called face spotlight, and I move over. You do have to be careful not to overdo these things, but what do you think? That's my original. That's the improved one. Snapseed, try it. You'll like it.
What is Android Auto? Well, Android Auto is a mobile app that allows features from your Android phone to appear on a car's compatible entertainment head unit screen and be voice operated. Now, if your vehicle does not have a factory installed navigation system, Android Auto is a smart way to have your route appear on the larger infotainment screen. Now, to utilize the benefits of Android Auto, some older cars require having your Android phone running version 8.0 or higher physically plugged into the car's USB connector, while newer models allow for a wireless connection. So you're going to have to do a little research on your own to determine if your car is compatible with Android Auto. As an example, most Ford vehicles starting in 2017 are compatible with Android Auto, while Ford cars built in 2021 and later will work with wireless Android Auto. Now, to make it work with being plugged in, you have to have the right USB cable. And you've heard me say this before, while USB-C offers many advantages over their USB-A counterpart, not all USB-C cables have the same capability. Some are made only for charging your phone and therefore will not work with Android Auto. So be sure to use either the one that came with your phone, or if making a purchase, be sure it says Android Auto cable or words to that effect. And as you can see, it says that in this copy of this Amazon ad that I have here. Now, wireless adapters. For those driving a non-wireless vehicle, wireless Android Auto adapters are available. They nicely eliminate the need to plug and unplug your phone that you take with you each time you enter or leave your car, and with the added benefit of eliminating the wire that may be draped over your center console. However, these devices can be on the expensive side. For example, Amazon offers the bestseller, the Motorola MA1, for about $60. Now, Android Automotive is different than Android Auto. Some car models built in the last few years have Android Automotive, which is a full operating system built into the car at the factory and optimized for vehicle infotainment systems. So in addition to the typical tasks provided by Android Auto, Android Automotive can operate specific vehicle functions, such as controlling the inside temperature through air conditioning and heater operations. Android Automotive does not need your smartphone to be in the car for it to operate. Now, for those in the market for a new car, you will want to discuss this feature with the salesperson, since for most non-luxury vehicles, Android Automotive is not a standard option. All right, so what is Android phone in the car? Well, the compartment below the dash in my car allows my phone to lay on the charging pad while connected with a short cable to the USB-A port. And then when the cover is closed, the phone is out of sight. And then what appears, I'm showing you both screens. The built-in infotainment screen on the left provides quick access to various car functions, while the Android Auto screen on the right allows the use of the apps that are on my phone. So with Android Auto, I'm able to see these apps on a screen larger than my phone and have the option of accessing these apps by voice command. So I'm going to list for you now some of what I call the useful features of Android Auto. So number one is voice commands. When using the voice option of Google Assistant, you can keep your hands on the steering wheel and your eyes on the road. You can initiate an action just by saying, "Hey, Google," and then call someone, ask about the weather. I mean, we all know this list is almost endless. Number two, the navigation apps. Android Auto is compatible with many navigation apps, not only Google Maps and Waze, which are both owned by Google, but others as well. This means you are not limited to the car manufacturer's built-in navigation system, which may not include current traffic and road conditions. And for those that have an EV, there are many charging station finder apps to choose from that can be used with Android Auto. Number three, the on-screen weather updates. Not only can you ask about the current weather, but you can show the latest weather updates on the screen as you travel. This could be particularly useful on long drives when traveling through multiple states or provinces. You can even tweak this feature so it will show information such as visibility, wind speeds, and humidity. Number 4, more media choices. So the automatically resume media option within the general settings will resume listening to a song, podcast, or audiobook when you return to your car. And for those that stream their music, you can choose your default provider so that the Google Assistant will know the one you want. And for folks like me, in addition to paying for a streaming service, you can use a music player for the songs you have loaded on your phone, and then choose which ones to play with a voice request. Number 5, answering phone calls and messages. Now, like the built-in system that came with my car, text messages can be read to me, but by my adding a text messaging app to Android Auto, I can dictate a reply using Google Assistant. And then calling someone from my contacts has the same functionality as the built-in system, where I can initiate a phone call using a simple voice command. Now, Android Auto is not perfect. Some issues I have faced during my approximately 3 weeks of use. Sometimes Android Auto will just disconnect for no reason at all, with the image on the screen reverting to the built-in version that came with the car. We've not figured out why that happens yet. Many features require a cell phone signal, and where I live, that is not always available. And on occasion, my voice prompts are not understood and need to be repeated, even when the sunroof and windows are closed. Now, while this presentation has focused on Android Auto, it is important to note that Apple CarPlay works in a similar fashion while using an iPhone. Now, the below information I'm going to show is from lifewire.com. So on Android Auto, as I said before, this requires Android 8.0 or newer. The wireless requires Android 11.0 or newer. A customizable display layout is provided. It uses Google Assistant for the voice controls, and it uses Google Maps by default. And then, as I've shown, I think there's wider third-party application compatibility or app compatibility. And it includes also a generative AI to help manage texts. Now, on the Apple CarPlay side, this requires the iPhone 5 or newer running iOS 7.1 or newer. The wireless requires iOS 9 or newer. It has a well-organized home screen. It uses Siri for the voice controls. It uses Apple Maps by default, and has a wider availability of wireless connectivity. So, summarizing the benefits of Android Auto, according to Copilot, Android Auto is a fantastic tool that offers these benefits. 1, seamless integration with your phone and the car's touchscreen, making it feel like an extension of your device. Number 2, app compatibility, as a wide range of smartphone apps work quite well with Android Auto. 3, the hands-free operation lets you control features with Google Voice simply by saying, "Hey Google." 4, the easy setup with your phone and USB cable. Once confirming the code the first time, AA launches automatically on subsequent drives. And it has obviously the reduced distractions while driving. So go ahead, connect your phone, give Android Auto a try, and enjoy the ride. That's it. Thank you. The end.
So when I was doing aircraft accident investigation, people would always ask me, why did that plane crash? And the answer to that question was always a series of mistakes that occurred. All these mistakes had to line up to equal a crash for the accident to occur. Now, today I'm going to take that same philosophy and use that to help seniors and technology drive more safely. It will be a series of mistakes you make that will get you into trouble. I'm going to use the same analogy to make you, a senior, drive safer. Now, it could be a series of events. It could be you're getting up early in the morning. It could be you're drowsy, you're not feeling well. You come down to the car, you don't do your pre-driving inspection. You may be in a hurry. You may not know where you're going. You may be distracted on the infotainment center. All these factors will lead up to an accident, which we don't want to happen. So let's have a look today at some of the things you can do and some of the technology that's built into cars that will make you drive more safely. All right, you're now in the garage and you're going to go for a drive. The first thing I want you to do is to walk around and inspect the car. Have a look at that. Is the back door closed? Is the hatch closed? As you come around to the other side of the car, you'll see, is it plugged in? Is it charging? How many times in the short time I've had an EV have I forgot to unplug the charging cable? Now, it is true you can't start the car if it's plugged in, but you still have to get back out of that car. Wander around, look at the tires, give it an inspection. Now, when you get into the car, as a senior, you often have problems with mobility. Maybe you have arthritis in your knee or your hip, and it's difficult for you to get in and out of the car. So you don't want to be getting in the car and finding out you left the back door open, so you have to get out, or you have to get out of the car and look at the charging cable and remove the charging cable. So all I'm saying is, before you get in the car, walk around it, have a look at it. This is not a basic thing to do. This is something as a senior we should do, because we don't want to hop out of that car. Unless you've noticed, we don't do a lot of hopping anymore. So let's make sure when we get in that car, we're ready to go. Now you've got in the car and you've started it up. You're going to look at the dashboard and see if there's any indication on the sensors that there's anything wrong. Is there a door open? Is the hatch open? Is there a problem? Because you'll want to stop the car and fix it before you hit the reverse and back out of the garage. Now you do decide everything is fine, you hit the reverse, and the first thing that is going to happen is the backup camera is going to come on. Now all automobiles sold in Canada after 2018 have to have a backup camera installed. This is absolutely important as a senior because it allows us to give us clear access behind the vehicle. We also have sensors behind the vehicle that allow to identify children playing or any obstacles. I find the backup camera is absolutely great. I had one installed on my truck, my 2007 GMC truck that I used for a long time. It didn't have sensors, but it was helpful, but nowhere near what the backup camera on my 2024 Toyota has. It's amazing. Even in the dark, it lights it up behind and tells me if there's anything there. The sensors are amazing, and you also get a huge discount in your insurance if you have this backup technology. So it does work. So as seniors, we have specific medical problems that make backup cameras mandatory. And one of them is the ability to turn. A lot of times due to physical size or arthritis in your neck or difficult medical problems, you're going to find that you can't turn around to look behind you to make sure it's clear. So we rely on these cameras. So if your car does not have a backup camera and you are a senior, head down to Best Buy. They have an automotive department there. They can easily install a backup camera for you. I think that is an extremely wise decision. So you now put it in reverse and you're backing out of the garage onto the driveway. And what happens is it's sunny out. And the next thing you do is you grab your sunglasses. The problem is when you put them on, you can't see the gauges on the car. You know, when we did pilot examinations, we were very particular about sunglasses with pilots because when they wore polarized sunglasses, they couldn't see the gauges. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want a pilot flying around that can't see the gauges. Nor should you be driving if you can't see the gauges either. So usually if you've got sunglasses, you put them on and you can't see the gauges on the dash, that means that you have polarized sunglasses. Now, if you're over the age of 70, it is most likely you've had cataract surgery or you're going to get cataract surgery. Now, cataracts are opacities in the lenses that allow light through to the retina. And of course, part of the problem is things get a little hazy because you can't see, of course, and also darker. And after cataract surgery, when we put nice new clear lenses in, the sun pours in. And everyone after they have cataract surgery have a terrible problem with photosensitivity. The light really bothers them, so you have to wear your sunglasses. Now, this can actually go on for a number of years. I know my wife had it done 2 or 3 years ago, and she still has to wear her sunglasses when she's driving. It bothers her. So this is something that's going to go on for quite some time. So you will need sunglasses when you're driving. This is very important. And I don't want you to be like my mother, who at 85 years old was driving down the highway, and she was always lifting her sunglasses up and down because she couldn't see how fast she was going. So she would lift her glasses up and look, her sunglasses up so she could see the gauges, and then she'd put them down and drive for a while. How distracting is that? Remember, that's one of the issues that is coming up to an accident is distraction. So we want to make sure that go to your optometrist, get a proper set of sunglasses that you can see the gauges. Don't be messing around with your glasses as you're driving. Now, you're driving along the road and you want to make it pull into the left-hand lane. Blind spot monitoring is essential as a senior citizen. Most modern cars today have sensors on the left and right-hand side of the vehicle that will let you know if another car is approaching you in your blind spot. If you're trying to make a left turn into that lane in a dangerous situation, well, you'll be notified, and in some cases, the car won't let you make that turn. This is of particular importance as a senior for a number of reasons. The first is peripheral vision. There are many medical conditions that affect your peripheral vision. This is one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, the motor vehicle branch will be checking. Because the conditions such as glaucoma, the first symptom is often loss of peripheral vision. And you can't see to the left. You have no idea if that car is there or not. So blind spot monitoring is essential in that situation. The second situation is, of course, as seniors, we don't turn our neck as well. Why? Well, we often have arthritis in our neck. We might have mild arthritis. Some people actually have very disabling arthritis called rheumatoid arthritis. And this is very painful and difficult for them to turn their neck, and they can't actually look to the left to see a car there. And the third condition might even be ankylosing spondylitis. This is a arthritic condition where actually your neck fuses. The arthritis is so bad, the cervical spine fuses, and you have to turn your whole body to turn and look to the left, and you can't see any cars that are coming on that left. And it's a very unsafe situation, and blind spot monitoring is mandatory in those situations. So blind spot monitoring is so important when you're purchasing a car. Now, most new vehicles will have some sort of pre-collision warning system. Toyota calls this a PCS, pre-collision system, but many different manufacturers call it different things. But the idea is that there are sensors in the front of your car looking forward, and they're looking for a number of factors. They'll stop the car if there's an imminent collision. In other words, if you're approaching a car at a high rate of speed, indicating that you're not seeing this vehicle, then it will stop. It also looks for pedestrians and bicycles, and will also stop if those are in the way. This is so important. Now, let me give you a little tip here. As seniors, I'm going to tell you our reflexes just aren't as good as a 20-year-old. You know, those 20-year-olds that are going around, they're texting, they're talking on the phone, they're doing distracted things. Well, we have the wisdom. We're smarter than those 20-year-olds. We have the wisdom. And the wisdom tells us that we should stay focused on the road 100% of the time and not be messing around with those infotainment systems or trying to figure out where you're going on Google Maps. We need to stay focused on that road so we stay safe. Please follow that, and so we stay safe. But as you approach that crosswalk on a dark, rainy night, and someone with a black dog wearing a black hoodie with black pants and black sneakers is walking across an unlit crosswalk. Now, how in the world is anyone supposed to see that person at 11 o'clock on a rainy night in the dark? Well, as a senior, you're not going to see them, but a 20-year-old isn't going to see them either. That's where your pre-collision warning system will identify that individual and stop the car. So this is a very important piece of equipment that you should have on your car. If you're considering the purchase of a new car, this is something that's extremely important to have. All right, you've come up the ramp and you've reached 65 miles an hour on the highway and you're driving along. The first thing is, let's talk about cruise control. Now, I have traveled across Canada twice, all the way to Newfoundland, pulling my fifth wheel and back twice. I've done it twice across the United States from the East Coast to the West Coast, pulling again my 38-foot fifth wheel. As you'll see in this picture, I've almost worn out the switch for cruise control. Yes, most of that driving was driven under cruise control. One of the big factors that seniors have is fatigue. We get fatigued very easily, and certainly as you get older, the longer you're driving, fatigue is a big factor, and that tends to make you drive at 65 miles an hour for a while, and then it's 50 miles an hour, and then it's 45, and the traffic behind you gets very upset. I certainly saw this happening a lot when I was traveling and met up with seniors driving. So cruise control is a way in which it's going to help you relax, and it's going to keep you at a constant speed, which will make you safer. People who say to me, I don't like cruise control. Most often those are people who have never used cruise control. They don't know how the cruise control works on their new car. They don't know where the buttons are. My advice, if you're going to be doing some highway driving, go out and practice. Know how those buttons work on your control, know how to set the cruise control, and it will be very helpful in reducing fatigue while you're driving. And again, that will make you a safer driver. Now, the next feature is called variable speed control or variable cruise control. It's called different things on different cars. And I think this is like sliced bread. This is such a cool feature. And I wish I had had it on my GMC truck when I was traveling. Unfortunately, when I purchased my truck in 2007, they didn't put variable speed control on trucks. It was only available on automobiles. So what variable speed does is once you have your cruise control on, and of course you're approaching a car that may be doing 50 and you're doing 65, your cruise control will automatically slow down to 50 miles an hour, whatever the speed of that automobile is. If you then turn on your blinkers and you go to the left and you get in the left lane, you will then speed up and go around the car, and it'll take you back up to whatever your preset highway speed was. This is so helpful when you're driving long distances. That was something I really missed in all the driving I did. I'm so happy it is now on my 2024 RAV4 Prime, and it works great. The final topic I want to talk about today is lane assist. Now, lane assist may mean different things on different vehicles, but I'm going to explain it on my 2023 and 2024 RAV4s. Now, on my 2023 RAV4, when I turn the lane assist on while I'm on the highway, it identifies the left and right lines on the road that indicate the lane. And if I wandered off to the left or wandered off to the right, it would warn me with a beeping sound and turn the car back into the lane. Now, when I moved from 2023 to 2024 to my Toyota RAV4 Prime, I was absolutely surprised at the change in the lane assist feature. The lane assist feature on my 2024 RAV4 Prime actually will hold the car in the center of the lane. When I turn the lane assist on, it keeps the car in the center of the road. Now, this is really interesting because you're going to say, Ron, if you have variable speed control and you have your speed control on and it's holding the car in the center of the lane, don't you have a self-driving car? Well, you actually do. And it's very interesting, but that is a topic that I plan on doing another video about. And I think it is interesting technology. I think it can be very helpful for seniors. But of course, it is going to require some training and getting used to. So I hope to do another video about that in the future. So hopefully some of the things I've talked to you today will allow you to drive longer, but most important, be safer. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Have a great day.